every Friday as we discuss important issues affecting our society from 8 to 10:30 p.m. For persons living outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you can still listen to us on Nice Radio's website, www.niceradio.info, or you can email us at bdsnice@gmail.com, or simply give us a call at 784-456-5967. Remember, it's Keeping It Real, the interactive talk show program heard each and every Friday only on Nice Radio.
It's a conspiracy going on here in this country. What a sad moment for we. They're trying to take rights and justice from we. I believe that wouldn't happen. We must take a stand and unite as one. And no matter what, for rights we have to fight back. I say we go fight for justice. We want we rights. Nobody can take away freedom. We want we rights. Yes, we walk in.
As many know, we have Holiday Inn Express, which is running at I think it's something like 98% occupancy rate. And full for Carnival. Well, always. Right? And I should say that hotel is also for sale. For any of you who are interested, because I see a lot of money in this room. So I'm happy about, but that's for sale. And that's a hotel that was built by the government. There are those who want to speak about why should the government be involved in the hotel business? Government is not really involved in the hotel business, but we need to get the room rate up. We need to get the number of keys up. And for those who don't know the history, that's exactly how Barbados got their number of rooms up. Government had to get involved because you have to show your potential investors that you have confidence in the product. And that's what we are doing. We have confidence in the product.
We go fight for justice. We want we rights.
Young people are more engaged than ever. They're more intelligent than ever. They can think outside the box more than ever before. But they need a vehicle that can assist them in assisting the community. And that's where we are with GIVE. So the idea is young people who are on the ground will see some issue in their community that they believe they can address. Not that they can post online, not that they can comment on, not that they can wait for somebody else to come and do. But they will see something that they can address. Is it like the young men and women in Epic Song Steel Orchestra, a building in the community that has become dilapidated that they want to fix up? Maybe. Is it that there's some area where people used to play football, but it's become overgrown and people don't play there anymore and they want to clear it up and adopt a patch of land? Maybe. Is it that they want to give after school lessons? We have CSEC exams coming up. Is it that some of them want to get together after school and teach some kids at the community center math or English or social studies or something? Maybe. Is it that they want to have a football tournament with a little prize in the community, a little community activity?
Yes, we walking for we rights, and we talking for we rights, so we marching for we rights. Nobody can take we rights. We demonstrating for we rights, we protesting for we rights, we picketing for we rights. Nobody can take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights. We worry rights and justice. We worry rights and freedom. We worry rights and justice. So don't try to take we rights.
Good night, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's Friday, the 23rd of May, 2025. 2 days before African Liberation Day and 2 days after the Baptist public holiday. Man, as the saying goes, there's never ever a dull moment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So, keeping it real is on the air. So, whatever medium you may be using to get this program, whether it be cyber, social, via the internet or the radio, or even AI now, it's being used, TikTok, and whatsoever, keeping it real is on the air. And we are here once again to inform you, educate you, and enlighten you about the issues that are impacting on us, whether it be local, regional, or international. So, wherever you may be, wherever crab hole, dog hole, fox hole, whichever water hole that you are on this Friday night, the weekend, keeping it real is on the air. And all we ask you is, this is an interactive program, that when the lines are open, that you be civil, honest, truthful. We don't want anybody being malign or abused or slanderous, libelous, or anything that may put this radio station in problem, yourself, and we, the hosts of this program. Just want you to keep it real, be civil, and everything will be okay between you and us. Now, I am here tonight with a heavy heart. I am here tonight and I'm feeling it. Because once again, Black people in this country have been degenerated, they have been insulted, they have been abused, and their religious right has been taken for a mockery. And I'm calling on all fellow Christians who understand and know the sacrilege when it comes to the church's emblem, and know that certain things you can't trespass and abuse it, and you can't take it and make a mockery and figure that out that you are doing right. And what I'm talking about? I'm talking about a number of issues that took place during the celebration of the spiritual Baptist Day, what they call liberation. But I don't think they were liberated. They were even much more put back into shackles. As I mentioned last week, I grew up in a Baptist home. My entire family, especially the female section, were Baptists and are still Baptists. We practice Baptist. And some of my relatives in Trinidad, when they saw what was taking place, they called me and tell me, what has happened to Vincentian? Why have they allowed these things to be transpiring and nobody seems to want to address it. And what I'm talking about is here it is, the leader of this country that is using this, and I'm not holding back, for political ploy. It is not genuine. It's far different to what transpired with Joshua and Keto and Parnell Campbell. And I could name other political personnel who were involved in assisting the Baptists in being recognized. So the groundwork has already been laid since 1912, come into 1951, and continue in 1975 and on. But this Portuguese, who his people went into Africa and stole what was rightfully black people owned, and forged unto them a false belief of Christianity. We was always spiritual. We always had a being with the spirit of our ancestors and of nature. They did not have that. Because when an artist drew a picture of a blue-eyed Jesus that we have us up to the worshiping, if we check our history, we would see it could never have been. Jesus of Nazareth would never had blue eyes. The area of the world that he was born in were of tan brown or black. So the Romans imposed on us their way of life and still have us up to today. But the Baptists, which originate out of Africa, of what we should be ensuring what is, we come again and let someone put the shackles back on us. And now, the Baptist religion is more divided than ever because of what transpired. No politician can go into the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, the Methodist Church, and take up their dish where they have the incense in, smoking, and use it and walk around and between them in the service and smoking. Can't do that. They cannot also take up the rod or the cross that the bishop or his archbishop are walking in front. It will never happen. And they could not have gone up on the altar uninvited. But when one could go and take up the bell, which is sacrilege, sacred for the Baptist religion, and start ringing it, and no one rebuked him and no one took it away, I say, oh God, here it goes again. Our people has lost. Just for a day, they accept insult. And then here it is. He is playing as if he catch spirit. A mockery of our belief. And I said, I can't keep quiet. I can't keep still. I can't shut up. I can't play blind and I can't play deaf. And who want to vex because of politics? That's their business. If you vex, go and be, because I'm not talking politics. Politics may come up in it, but I'm not talking politics. I am talking about the degradation and the insult that was passed on to Black people again. And if people don't understand that, well then, sorry for them. They could continue to be fooled and believe that how they love them. But that kind of love I could do without, because I know that how you don't love me. To come and desecrate my religion, to come and desecrate my day of celebration. And then again, why is it that it's only the Baptists you have for a special day? The 7 days don't need a special day too? The Anglican don't need a special day too? The Catholic? And I can go on. The Salvation Army that has been doing human service toward this country. They all face struggles. They all face by the establishment. So if we really analyze and check it out, we would see that how the trickery in this whole thing to make people feel that you're doing something for them out of genuineness, but it's out of political mischief. And I'm calling on the opposition too. While yes, I am saying that how you can celebrate, you must denounce what has transpired and divorce yourself from those actions that took place and call him out that he should apologize to the Baptist religion and all the Baptist heads who were there and allowed this to happen. They should hold their head in shame for the embarrassment that has transpired, because they do not hold the respect. And that is just how it is. My people, Black people, Sunday is African Liberation Day. And if we look to Africa and see what is taking place and listen to Ibrahim Touré, the president of Burkina Faso, we would see a light shining in the darkness. And he said, Africa for Africans, a home and abroad. And whether you want to accept it or not, and say that how you know African, then change your color. Change your DNA. Change your pigmentation. Because don't care where you come from, as long as you're a Black man, according to Peter Tosh, you are an African. Don't mind your complexion, you're an African. And Africans are spiritual. And if you check it out, you would see what they have done to countries like Haiti and all these other countries that stood up to defend their civil rights as Black. Look at the situation with America and South Africa. Apartheid. But yet, the President of America could grant citizenship to white South Africans in a country where they control 85% of all the land. and only 15% is controlled by the blacks. Who is the largest population of that country? And now that the blacks are raising up and asking that their land be given back to them, the whites are running and say that racism and all sorts of things. So I want to know which kind of racism? What kind of racism? But as Stalin said, it's 400 years and over. All the superpowers have been trying to invade Africa. Yes, they went down there with all the lust and the greed. But don't care much they tried. They still ain't succeeding. Yes, they kill and keep killing. But the more African they kill, is the more they see coming. And they must remember the words of the old witch doctor, which is spiritual and strong and powerful. See, Africa can never be conquered. Africa don't have no nuclear weapon, they don't have no bomb, they have no gun. But yet, they have tried and tried and tried. That's impossible. They killed Muammar Gaddafi, who tried to unite Africa and have one currency because they are fearful. They killed Sankara of the same Burkina Faso, Lumumba of the Congo, and I can go on, Steve Biko of South Africa. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison only for standing up for what is right and proper. And we here in St. Vincent are struggling for 25 years now. And if we can see that it's time that we take about turn, then heaven help us. Yeah, I'm saying it. Heaven help us. Under this regime, agriculture has gone. Under this regime, the social fabric of this country has gone. Every morning you wake up is another murder. They blame the opposition for crime and violence, but they can't recall the statement that they made that is haunting them now, that they will make this country ungovernable. And that is what is happening. They cannot govern this country. He also insulted the Baptist and said that when they eat and they drink the cocoa tea and they go sleep, and wrongs try them, and they say they had dreams, and they come and utter nonsense. But yet still, he want to hold praise to Selatau. He is the one that is liberating them. Liberate you from what? Liberate you from what? You're already liberated. You're already liberated. You are proud and powerful nation. The black people and your religion will tell you that. So don't make people fool you and think that they're doing something for you on the path of Christianity and thing. No. It's all because of a political ploy. This is the election year, and he knew the weight of the Baptist religion. And to get them to convince them that he's doing something for them so that how he can remain in office going into his 80 years, and he doesn't want to stand aside for some younger body in his party to take over. And then he's talking about leadership. So only he alone is leadership. The rest in his party don't know about leadership. And they accept that. And then they criticize Friday and say that he doesn't have leadership quality. But I prefer have a collective leadership than a supreme leadership. Because collectively, you have a number of heads that could analyze and work things out. In a supreme, it's one man. You're looking about aristocracy or dictatorship. And that is what we have been suffering under. Listen to Minister of Finance, and about this new project that they are rolling out to say to involve the youth, and the youth tell him could think. And if you listen to him, he is the one who throwing out ideas to the youth. So if you say the youth tell him could think, why throw out ideas? Let them think for themselves. They say they break down the brilliant. Remember, it's fool talking, but him fool listening. They are bankrupt. You had NGOs that used to do so much community projects, and under this regime, they have gone their way. Now you're trying to bring it back and say that, oh, you're paying for volunteerism. You don't pay for volunteerism. People give this service out of the needs of their community, and they do it freely for their community. You don't have no divisiveness. We don't have no Labour, no NDP, no Green Party, and no party whatsoever when things were to be done. I could recall agriculture has swapped labor. I could recall in the community, people on Sunday would move a house from one area to the other at no cost. All they have to do is get some food, you cook on your arm, 2 bottles of strong rum, and everything is cool. Now, that's not so anymore. The love that we used to have for one another is gone because of what? You stated that you will make this country ungovernable, and that is what is happening. We can no longer settle our problem civilly. The guys in the money block, we used to hang out and lie, and we used to discuss all sorts of things. One on the block, and you just say that, oh, you're a pussy. Right there, next one want to kill him. You insulting me. And all these sort of things. When first time we call, say things even worse than that. And all we do, we laugh it off and discuss it. If you see one guy into heated, somebody would hug him up and pull him one side, and we'll resolve it. Nobody ain't going to wait until you're going home and they hide you in the bush with a gun and then shoot you. But this is what has come under this regime. That the major statement was, we'll make this country ungovernable. All because of what? You got the majority of people voting for you back in 1998, but you did not get the majority of the seat. Because the saying goes, first past the poll. And you couldn't take it. And you couldn't wait. And I am guilty. Because one of them who blocked the road for you. But when I saw what is taking place, I could not have stand still and accept that. Get the best person the job. I suffered 29 years, no promotion because why I was outspoken. And I said, no politician can tell me my job because you don't know my job. And when you come to talk to me, I tell me, that's out. This is wrong. Go and talk to the permanent secretary who would talk to my supervisor, who then discuss with me, and so it goes. This no longer happening. Politician taking up the phone and call people and tell them, go home and bust that you out for them. Don't go for my extension station. And all them sort of statement. The extension station ain't not you, you're not their technocrat. So when you send people and you take people and you put square pegs in the wrong hole, and now you're coming all of a sudden, all the extension station and you destroyed. Now you're trying to clean them up and all sorts because I see Dunbarton that was done for the past 20 years is now being cleaned up. And Belmont. And South Rivers, Three Rivers, rather. These are the sort of things that you have destroyed. And now that you're on the way out, now you are at the departure lounge. You don't want to leave. And you're saying that I'll give you another job. For what? If you had 25 years and you couldn't think it, then let somebody else try. And the nonsense right here, somebody saying, but how Friday ain't ready. How could you know somebody ready if you not give them a chance? And everybody cannot be aggressive like the government, like the Prime Minister. No. We can't go down that way because what we've seen with that, it has caused too much divisiveness in this country, hatred, and people no longer cares for the fellow man. Because the Papa Party, home are divided, church are divided, even sporting organizations are divided because of what? That statement will make the country ungovernable. Will make the country ungovernable, and he has proven it. Yes. Everything under you has taken a backward trend. And even further. So, the vendors, who is part of the economy of this country, are facing it. You have some goons on the road scrambling up this stuff. You know that the economy is bad, but you're boasting that the IMF say that we have the second highest growth for any country in the Caribbean. What growth you're talking about? Structures that you're building, that is growth? Well, let it trickle down to the average person so that they can get money to buy proper food when they go to the supermarket. Not every Saturday morning you go to the supermarket and something that was 40 cents last week is 60 cents this week. And you are trying all how. Inflation is out of control. We can't tell when we could get a proper salary increase. It's 2% and 3% and 0.5%. Insult to the working class of this country. Because this month is also workers' month. What have you done for workers on a whole? And people are retiring into poverty. And when some of them retire at 60, they still have to wait till 65 and 67 to get the pension. Heaven help us, Lord. I will hold for now.
No, I want you all to understand this. This is a man, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. He spent a whole day in the office. First of all, he interviewed about 15, 16 people for citizenship. 15, 16 people, for citizenship.
If the Honorable Senator Lewis wants to know how the discretion is exercised in relation to the grant of citizenship under the law, rather than just reading it theoretically, he must become the Prime Minister, which is an unlikely event. I'm not answering the way I exercise my discretion. All I can tell you, it is done under the law of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Nobody can take away freedom.
Principle number 1, thou must not lie. Principle number 2, if you don't like people, don't get into politics. Principle number 3, never say anything in politics that you can't get beat. Principle number 4, if you want to be rich, don't get involved. Principle number 5, if you leave politics rich, you thief. Principle number 6, you must understand that this job is a 24-hour job and you have no private life. Because the policies of this government are for yourself and for your children. One university graduate per household. When we said so, he said that would never happen. it is happening under Sean Elliott. Look at the steps. And you know, they believe that healthcare is something we can't talk about. My sisters and my brothers, we have done more for healthcare in the 4 years or in the 2.5 years we in government than the United Workers' Party has done ever for healthcare. And when the time comes, we are going to show our scorecard as far as healthcare is concerned.
A young lady came to me and asked for assistance to get some plywood to build a house. And I asked her where she planned to build a house. And she said she thinks she had some land somewhere that belonged to the family somewhere. And she was hoping that she'd be able to clear a spot and build a house. So I asked if she was employed and she said yes. I asked her if she recognized that if she didn't own the land, that even if you got what you were asking for, which was materials at the time, you still have to find a contractor to build it. And you still have to pay the contractor to build it. And so you have to have money to do that. And that didn't occur to her. So I asked her if she was aware that right next door, there were apartments for sale by the Housing Authority. She said, well, she was aware, but she never really thought it through. Mind you, she has 2 or 3 children. So I said to her, maybe you should go to the apartments and have a look at them. And the first response, well, it's not really my thing, you know, I want my own space, I want to plant, etc. But I said, you have nothing now. And you're here talking with me to ask me to help you, and that help is going to come from the taxpayers of Grenada. So everything goes in stages. So let's deal with the fact that you have nothing now. Let's deal with the fact that you want to get to a point where you have a home. And there's a journey that you have to take to get to that point. So I said, perhaps you can work with me and you can go and visit the housing scheme. And she went. And I said, what do you think? She said she liked it. I said, good. I said, the next step is we have to figure out how you get it. And I said, so you already have 1 foot in because you're working and you can get a job letter. She said, yes. I said, well, Ariza, is Ariza here? Yes. I said, Ariza is offering financing to help support people who want to buy. She said she doesn't have an account at Ariza. I said, that's fine. You can go in, you can open the account, you can tell them that you are trying to buy an apartment at the current housing scheme, and they will tell you what you need to do. I said, in addition, you'll have to fill up the form at the housing scheme to say you're interested in applying for an apartment. She did that. She went into Ariza, she opened the account. They told her the criteria. It was, I think, 20%. That's too high, by the way. She said she had 10%. And that a friend was going to give her the other 10%. So I said, is this friend male or female? She said male. I was like, is he really a friend? Or is he something else? Well, she didn't quite, I still don't know the answer to that. But obviously she didn't have 20%. And I was concerned that I said to her, if this friend gave you 10%, it probably means the friend name is going to have to go on the title deed, which means then you wouldn't really own the property, it would be joint ownership. So I said, I need you to think about this seriously and then you'll come back to me. But by then the friend disappeared. So the 10% was no longer available. I gave her the 10%. Well, let me rephrase that. I told her I would lend her the 10% so that she could make the 20%. And she came in and she signed for the loan and she got that additional 10%, so she had the 20% criteria. Then she started calling me because she was frustrated. It was taking long. She couldn't understand a lot of the processes. Ariza want insurance, they want this, they want that. You know, is this how they treat poor people? Is this how they make everything happen? So I said to her, that's not how they treat poor people, that's how they treat everybody. That is a long process, that sometimes is a little too cumbersome, but you have to understand why. So why do they want insurance? So I explained to her why. I was like, well, I don't know what kind of insurance they're asking you for, but there are different kinds. You could have life insurance.
Should I sell cigarette and strong rum? Then you put me in the jail and me lie to sell liquor without.
Right. It's a very long clip. I'll give you the moral of the story and why I played all of those clips just now. But like I promised you, I will deal with the issue of the RPA at least 1 or 2 sections every week until whenever. So I'm going to the Constitution tonight first, and I'm going to read for you the composition of Parliament. And it's not divorced from the RPA, and I'm going to read. There shall be a Parliament of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which shall consist of a magistrate and a House of Assembly. The House shall consist of such number of representatives as correspondent with the number of constituencies for the time being, established in accordance with the provision of Section 33 of this Constitution, who shall be elected in accordance with the provision of Section 27 of the Constitution, and 6 senators appointed in accordance with the provisions of Section 28 of this Constitution. If a person, and I'm reading Section 23, I have read Section 23, 24 of the Constitution. I am now going to 24, subsection 2. If a person who is not a member of the House is elected to be the Speaker, he shall by virtue of holding the office of Speaker be a member of the House. And at any time when the office of the Attorney General is a public office, the Attorney General shall be by virtue of holding or acting in that office be a member of the House. I'm reading for you Section 25 now, the qualification for representative or senator. Subject to the provision of this, subject to the provision of Section 26 of this Constitution, a person shall be qualified to be elected as a representative if and shall not be so qualified unless he, A, is a Commonwealth citizen of the age of 21 years or upward. B, he resides in St. Vincent for a period of 12 months immediately before the date of his nomination for election, or is domiciled and resident in St. Vincent at that date, and is able to speak unless incapacitated by blindness or other physical cause, to read the English language with a degree of proficiency sufficiently to enable him to take active part in the proceeding of the House. And it has some other thing and the disqualification, and I will put that aside now and go to the RP, and I'm going to read the right to remain as a voter, because I know we have this issue for a long time, and person have some issue with it, and rightfully so, or wrongfully so. So your right to remain as a voter on the voters list. And I'm reading for you Section 7 of the RPA. Every person registered as a voter pursuant to this part shall remain registered unless or until his name is deleted from the register because, 1, he is dead. He has died. So the difficulty that some of us having, and we've been complaining, when I say complaining, debating and arguing and about this particular section, because I insist from day one that the persons who are deceased, their name should be easily removed from the list, and there should be no complication. When a person is dead or deceased, he go to the registry, give the necessary information, the death certificate, and after the death certificate, he is provided with he given a paper from the doctor to indicate that Poya or whoever is deceased and the cause of death, and he go to the registry, he registered that death, and he is given a death certificate. So simple. That death certificate I indicated from the one should be sent immediately to the electoral office. when I say the information should be sent to the electoral office, and that individual or those individuals' name should be removed immediately. And there is no complication, there is no problem, there is no difficulty if the supervisor remove the dead person name from the list. Then the supervisor will be acting in accordance with the law. If the supervisor failed to remove that person name from the list, the supervisor is not acting in accordance with the law. Yes, that would be a mouthful, because the question is, should there be collaboration between the electoral office and the registry? And obviously, yes. Should there be collaboration between the electoral office and the immigration department? Obviously, yes. So therefore, if an individual or individuals left this country for 5 years consecutively and hasn't returned or never returned to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that person name legally ought to be removed. And if that person name is not removed, then the supervisor of election also is breaking the law. And yes, that is a mouthful again, because you're going to ask, how will she know? And I indicated that there should be collaboration between the electoral office, the registry, the electoral office, and the immigration department. So let me continue reading. An objection to his registration has been allowed. So therefore, somebody might object to the registration, and for a number of reasons, Poyer moved into St. Vincent, and he's not into St. Vincent for 6 months, and because he have a good friend who is a registration officer, he may want to give Poyer, register Poyer, because he may be out of St. Vincent for the last 7 years. Came back to St. Vincent just about 3 months, and then you can raise objection and some other reasons, some other areas you can raise objection to for Poyer to be registered. He has been absent from St. Vincent and the Grenadines for a period exceeding 5 years, except in the case of absent for approval of studies abroad. So if a person is given study leave or he or she went to study overseas, whether or not it's 5 years, 10 years, that person name ought not to remove from the list. Then yes, unless you have a supervisor of election or in the supervisors of election with integrity, then you may have some problem with that. That is why I advanced the argument over the years that there should be electoral commission instead of the supervisor of election. You should have more than one person monitoring this, because I'm not saying that supervisor, previous or current, or to come, will be dishonest, but or has been dishonest, or is dishonest. All I'm saying that we need proper checks and balance in the system, and one person, I don't think, is sufficient eyes to observe all of these complications in the RPA. So study abroad, you get the necessary information from the Service Commission. So you work along with the Service Commission too. So you get the information from the Service Commission. Poyer was given permission to study overseas, and he overseas for 7 years, because after he finished his bachelor's, he went on to do his master's, and then he went on to do his PhD. So it take a longer period of time. So, but he ought to be on the list because of that particular provision in the law. So I will rest there for tonight in relation to this part. Next week, hopefully I'll go on to the issue of the house owners or agent and the occupants, and what are the procedures for those persons who want to be registered. Okay, so be that as it may. Poyer touch on, so I didn't plan to continue tonight with the issue of the spiritual baptism, but some of the persons who heard me last week been texting and asked me to continue. I didn't plan to continue after I saw them nonsense happen, but I will give you a little more insight into the spiritual Baptist movement, and I wouldn't give you some other story, but I'm reading from the Spiritual Baptist Faith by Reverend Patricia Stevens, and I'm going to give you certain things. So certain symbols. You have the scale of balance. That is, you have the balance wheel. Well, the scale of balance is basically justice. You have the balance wheel, which is righteous living. You have the cross, which is deliverance, a victory over death. You have the scale, which is discernment in personal life. You have eternal light, which is God present. You have the cord, which is strength. You have the seal, which is closed mysteries. You have the incense, which is prayer. You have the tree, which represents man. You have the burning bush, which represents the Holy Spirit. You have the goat hair, which represents the atonement. And you have the stars, which represent the guiding pointer. And I'm going to continue reading. The following contain the primary symbols used in the spiritual Baptist faith and constitute only an instruction to their meeting. The bell plays a significant role in the Baptist worship and has various uses. One, it's called to worship. So these are the symbols of the bell. Call to worship, invocation of the Holy Spirit, consecration, benediction, dispelling of evil spirit, the toll of death, silence, and amen. Those are the symbols of the bell and why the bell have been rung at different time in the spiritual Baptist movement. Like for you may sense an evil spirit around, and he may take the bell and give the necessary ringing of the bell. And the flags. You notice around the spiritual Baptist, you have a lot of flags from time to time. The flag denotes the presence of carnal sovereignty or a spiritual deity. Spiritual Baptists use various flags in their churches, at baptism, and at the morning room. These are the flags: the national flags, the protection flags, the messengering flags, the conquering flags, the deliverance flags, the defense flags. Each flag is individually colored and designed. And you notice also you see a lot of candles, not only the bell, the flag, but candles. Candles are used in all spiritual Baptist rituals, and the color of the candles also played an important part in their rituals. White. The white candle purifies truth and righteousness. The red candle purifies love, fire, and blood. The blue candle signifies healing and happiness. The green candle signifies prosperity and peace. The pink candle symbolizes success. The yellow candle symbolizes spirituality. The brown candle symbolizes positive, refined. The pure candle symbolizes victory or royalty. The black candle symbolizes strength or remembrance, and the mauve candle symbolizes power. The sword. The sword symbolizes judgment or the spirit that cut all sins of our personal life and the separator of evil. And I'm going to deal with one other part tonight because I have some other things I want to deal with. In most of these spiritual Baptist gathering or in the church, you have what they call a center pole. A center pole in most of the church, in most of the spiritual Baptist church. And you will recognize when I give you this part, it's something that you see that they happen also in the Anglican church also and the Catholic church more so. Can't remember see it happening in the Methodist and the other Pentecostal church, but in the Anglican for sure and the Roman Catholic. The center pole, all important rituals, ceremonies revolve around the center pole, which is the principal identifying feature of a spiritual Baptist church. The center pole can be elaborated or simply the top represents the center of heaven and the foot represents the grave. The beam which secure the post to the roof from a star-shaped ceiling demonstrate the word of God in heaven. Spiritual Baptists on entering the church pray first at the center pole. They believe that Jesus, the Christ, is always present. So I think I will stay at that part for tonight on the issue of some of the symbols in the spiritual Baptist. I played few clips for you, and I want to deal with the last one first. That is the Prime Minister of Grenada, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell. And his statement or presentation to the audience there and what the story that you heard, that is what I call true empowerment of the poor. And I'm going to paraphrase. The lady went to him, she wanted 2 sheets of galvanized, 2 sheets of plywood. Well, not literally 2. She wanted some plywood to build a house. You know, plywood alone can't build a house. You need galvanized, you need lumber, you need nails, you need screws, you need galvanized, name it. So she wanted that. And he, in his wisdom, indicated, no, that technically, I'm paraphrasing now, that is not going to help you. Because even after I give you these material, whether or not it was a board or wall house, when I give you this material, you still have to hire somebody to build your house, to do the construction of the house. Then he didn't give you all the details, but in some places you need planning permission and all of those other things. And he indicated that, well, what happened? It's taxpayers' money I'm going to use. And that is what we've been saying all the time. When the government give you lumber, galvanized, it's taxpayers' money, our money, that are being used to provide you with those things. The taxpayer, the politicians, they take it, most of them don't take, well, especially in government, don't take money from their pocket or their personal account to give you anything. Maybe they do that from time to time to give you a rum or beer, or if you have a thing, but they don't take the materials come from the taxpayers. And you are taxpayers, so the money technically coming from you also, because all of us, through VAT and other thing, pay tax now. So the money come from the taxpayers. But he basically gave her that story. So you need that. So he said, well, the government have a system in place that you can own your own house. You have to take out insurance because, you know, in case anything happen, your children will be secure because the monies that you pay on the insurance, which is life insurance, will cover the mortgage if anything happens to you. So, and your children will be in a better position to have something if you are deceased. And it's not like you, after, if anything happen, that the bank or come and repossess the property, or the institution come and repossess the property, and your children is left without nothing for the insurance. So he basically give us some lesson, give us all a lesson in how she could be in power and how she could own her own house or property. And that is what I think all of us, as well, I can't say us, that is what I think the politicians need to do, is empower people instead of having this dependency syndrome, where a person have to depend on you for everything, but you can empower individuals. Instead of you give them 2 pieces of plywood, give them a job and let them feel independent enough to buy their own plywood instead of have to depend on you and you use it as a whip or a stick over the head to indicate that, oh, I give you this lumber, I give, and some people are real stupid enough to believe that when they go by Minister X or Minister Y, and the Minister X or the Minister Y sign a voucher, that the minister is the one who giving them those material. But the flip side of it, and I need to flip it, the flip side of it is that if somebody is truly in need of 2 pieces of galvanized or a window or thing like that, every individual, once you are in need, that should be provided to you. And it shouldn't have to go by the candidate or the representative or the caretaker for the Unity Labour Party to get those information. It should be a system in place where monies are allocated and those public servants can have the liberty to give to approve certain things, because it used to happen before under community development under what is name, Rosita Snag, whether it was Rosita Snag or what is his name again, Alwyn Cupid, and even under Roger Young, I think is his name. Because when I could talk about that, because I walk along and Michael Johnson and I name Keith and I can't remember all the name. What is his name again from Mespo? We have two from Mespo. Can't remember all of the name, but we walk along together, and that is how it used to be. Denise Harrell, Miss Lois. That is how it used to be in those days. And you didn't have to go to whether Jerry Scott or you didn't have to go to Annem Eustace. You didn't have to go to those individuals. You could have gone to community development, indicate to them, they send out the field officer. Well, they had field officers were out all the time. We didn't have to send them out. They were out all the time in the communities. And they will, if they need help, they will get a contractor to do those things for you. I listen and I'm going to deal with the next part, which I heard Camelo Gonzalez. Camelo, in all due respect, you and your government are an embarrassment to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I say that without any fear of contradiction. We had a vibrant community, we have vibrant civil society organization and community-based organization, very vibrant. So all of them shit, sorry for the language. All of those things that you're talking about, that is nonsense and it's not no brilliance. It's stupidness you're talking in all due respect. Let me just highlight a few things for you. In Sandy Bay, you had a group called the Châteauguay Youth Movement. They had a building. I don't remember. I think it's Middle Street, yes. They had a building there. The president, what is his name? Nixon. He was the president of the organization. And money was provided to him with the assistance of the National Youth Council. And he had a lot of sewing machine and taught people to sew. He went England a number of times to further his training. And he came back and he was he was sewing clothes for a number of hotels in Kingston and other places, banks and other things like that. And that was facilitated through the National Youth Council. You have Sunshine Institute, was headed by a guy named Anthony Anderson. Also, through the NYC, he received a lot of assistance. And I think it's the organization, a funding agency in England, funded him through the NYC. And he taught a lot of people to sew. And he had his place to Lever Garden, where he was renting a building and taught a number of people to do tie-dyeing, sewing, what you call the other thing, culinary art, and a number of other things for years. Voluntary. His own initiative. He sat down with a group of us, we wrote the proposal, we send it off to the funding agency, they accept our proposal. I think that time they had the British Embassy office in Kingston, opposite the First St. Vincent Bank. And those things were done. East Kingston Dynamic Organization got funding also from overseas and also from community development, the same community development. And they had a electrical engineering workshop for 2 years and plumbing also. And persons receive certificate. I remember Rollin Stapleton and I think the Julian Francis at the time and Anna Eustace. They came across and they suggested that the certificate will carry more weight if you have the government affixed their signature and the other emblem. So they did that. And persons were able to use that certificate and went to technical college and furthered the study. Some of them went overseas and furthered the study in the field because they had the training ground. So the plumbing and the electrical workshop. And I could name a number of other things, but I just named those 3 for tonight because I'm watching the time. And a number of other community groups built Harcourt in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Harcourt and a number of other things. You had a number of organizations. It wasn't only sporting organizations. And then there's a brilliant idea came up. I can't remember exactly who it came from, to have what we call the Best Village competition. So the Best Village competition went on for years where people took pride in the community. There were no politics. And let me say something. And Hovex bid. There were no politics until about 2005. When politics creep into the community-based organization. I tell you that I think in 98, when we started the Signal Lighting Up competition, 1998, going good, marvelous, lighting up competition every year. Everybody come together. Sometimes we out there all 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, working on those lights. And not only lights, other things too, we were involved in. And nobody studying politics. We working together as a community until Julian came on the scene, and then all hell break loose. And some of those hypocrites here I just talk about, they're the one who was instrumental in destroying the vibrant Signal community that we had and that lighting up competition. That they were instrumental in the destruction. I remember when we had the Best Village competition, our group in Sign Hill, we were cleaning from right below where you have the gap going up to the clinic, going up to what you call Mountain Cabbage. all the way around. And we cleaned, we removed the things, and there was no problem until we were told to stop. Yeah, we were told to stop. And I challenged the individual to doubt me on it. I wouldn't call his name now, but we were told to stop. And I asked why. Oh, because we're doing it free and people want to make money. They have to provide work for their supporters. But in the group, there was person who have the constitutional right to support which party they want. But they also were disturbed. So we suggested, well, in order for the organization to have an income, you could provide us with the money and we'll continue cleaning. Nothing goes so. So I'm telling you, so all this stupidness. And then you used to have the skills training department for government. For the skills training department used to be across by mails across in the back there. Well, a lot of people used to learn different skills. And all of that were destroyed under this government. The community-based organization were destroyed under this government. The National Youth Council were destroyed under this government. And they feel embarrassed now. So you hear they coming up with all this, Dougie, close your ears. Yes, you hear they coming up with all of these nonsense now. Because they're embarrassed after so much a vibrant organization in all of the community. I remember the president of the teachers union, we used to go down or up to his group in Rosebank. We used to go Spring Village. We used to go Rose Hall. We used to go them Chatterbilly. I mean, and we used to be walking with those groups. And I'll give you another sad story for you. I started it some night, I never finished it. Gerald Thompson. When he was contesting the seat, we used to meet at the clinic. Right after you pass the bridge in Spring Village, the clinic was on your left hand. Soon as you turn, the nurse, a particular nurse was down there, and she was walking along with the young people in the area. Real nice. We used to go down there and assist her in project writing, leadership, and group dynamic, conflict resolution, and other things. And I remember Gerald turning to us and indicate that that lady getting too powerful and she had to be removed at the nurse. I can't remember her name. If one of my friends listening who were in the group, you could tell me her name. And she was removed. And the organization flopped because they believed that the nurse at the time had too much influence over the young people. And therefore, they destroy that. I tell you that. You see, they had some puppy show thing the other day, talking about youth parliament, some nonsense thing, talking about youth parliament. That was not conceptualized by the National Youth Council of St. Vincent. It was a meeting. One of our members went to Austria, one of them. And all of the ministers and them were there. And they conceptualized that we need to continue this youth parliament. And all of the ministers who were there agreed to the youth parliament. And Grenada had the youth parliament, because we went to Grenada Youth Parliament. St. Kitts had the youth parliament, we went to St. Kitts Youth Parliament. Trinidad had the youth parliament and other things. And I'll tell you this sad thing here. I remember we going to, and I give me a long winding story just to tell you Camilla talking shit. Well, nonsense. So when we went to Trinidad the first time, we were going to Cuba. And I can't remember the function we was going to Cuba. And then we suggested, we had a planning meeting before and blah, blah, blah. So when we told the gathering, our subvention, our yearly subvention. The man couldn't believe. The man almost passed out in the meeting. When they heard Trinidad at the time, I think I have the document home still, we're getting like thousands, like 10, 100 of thousands dollars sometimes. Yes, it. And then they indicate that if we want more money during the course of the year, we could write to the youth department and the youth department when we were here. And then Grenada, when they heard the thing Grenada, when they heard we were getting, I can't remember, it was 2009 at the time. I think it was 2009, either 2005 or 2009. Michael, if you're listening, tell me something. When they heard that, they almost passed out. But when we heard recently that this puppy show, these puppy show people here, bringing some Prime Minister Advisory, Youth Advisory Council, and going to give $125,000 to do nothing because they ain't doing shit. Doggy, don't listen. Yes, they ain't doing, but they get in 125. But we were killing our behind, doing all the work. No, doing all the work. Visiting groups, doing all sort of things, voluntary. All we needed is the assistance. And we were not getting the assistance, but them lazy, and then they call them buffoon, who ain't doing nothing, getting $125,000. Then me hear some other fart again. What your name? Cleve, not Cleve, sorry, Cleve. Nigel got here. Talk some kind of fart again about you giving money to youth organization to come up with things in the community and blah, blah, blah. You could decide to clean a beach. I mean, Gems are cleaning beach for a long time. I'm walking along with NYC and other groups, cleaning beaches for free all the time. But they're talking now about, okay, it's going to be a special project and the people are then get burned. They get burned like a damn crab. Yeah, because, no, serious, because you can't have it all. If you just go to the archives and ask for some of the things, go to some of the newspaper and other things, you see some of the things NYC used to be doing and the other community-based organization. They just get me heated, but I can't stand there forever. So let me show that guy aside. Crime. We came up with all sort of things. When I say we, government came up with all sort of things. PAN against crime, this against crime, that against crime, all sort of. If PAN no against crime, you won't get a crime in Trinidad because Trinidad is the university for PAN. But you still have PAN. But we have in crime, and they're not serious about dealing with crime and criminality. I was speaking to an individual today, and I was saying to him that, I remember back on the NDP, when the prisoners used to be out cleaning certain playing fields, right? Cleaning the cemeteries and doing other things. And they could have, because sometimes I heard, I can't remember if it's the minister. I think it's the same minister went and talk about, oh, we could have that thing and we could make some money when they're ready to go out. All of those things were done before, and you're all just recycling the same old talk and they ain't doing nothing. But in those days, remember, Poya. So because the guy was saying to the two boys, we look at the police station in Kingston, a disaster. You have qualified persons in the prison who could do carpentry. I mean, they could go and carry them and they do that in a day. You have some other dilapidated building for government. But you could use those persons if you talk about rehabilitation. Those persons in prisons who can go and do those things. But you don't only need rehabilitation, you need post prevention. You need preventative measure. So we need things like conflict resolution, how you deal with the conflict. We need things like skills training, so that you can empower those individuals to make a living for themselves. Right? You can empower those individuals to make a living for themselves instead of depending on $250. Let me give you a story. I think you were there, yes. So $250 to clean a drain and send it to Braxa and collect your money from Braxa. That is bull, you know what? So when I listen to those things, I say, no, we're not serious about moving forward in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We're not serious, boy. And I told an individual some time ago, the government, I believe, don't have any sense. No, I'm serious. Let us, I mean, and unless it's only being done for political reasons, right? The road gang just come out. Like, it used to be 410 per year, they cut it to 3, now it must be 2. We were saying that, okay, give an individual a contract to do the job for you. And I could guarantee you wouldn't spend all of those monies if you give a contract to an individual, right? Give one individual in the same areas that you do the cleaning, and he hire some person to work along with him, but give some individual, and you wouldn't spend so much money. And here the problem for you, you to be blamed to now. In some of the areas, yeah, I blame you too. Some of the areas, because let us look School Hill for you. Let us stay School Hill. I live in East Kingston. Let us talk about School Hill. When they clean the road from School Hill, well, from Dorchester Hill School, come all the way down to Mountain Cabbage. Where you throw the garbage, the grass and thing when you finish cleaning. Boy, Chuck can't go those places. I was telling one of the individual who go and, but why y'all don't put them in small heap and go and burn them after? Yeah, but he ain't going to do that up there. So burn them, and so you cut all of them, you throw them in people private property. And I ain't asking, I'm telling you. You throw them in people private property. And then when the rain come, you know the problem. It's a basic common sense. Basic common sense. But we have a lot of forces in prisons, boy. Right? They can do certain things with their hand, because when they come out of prison, we want them to survive. We want them to make a living on their own. We don't want them to have to steal again and go back into prison. And let us look at the laws. Because a man, let's say, steal a bread and chicken for you, does it make any logical sense to send a man to prison for 6 months? How that would make sense? I mean, I could see if it's a repeat offender, you want to teach him a lesson, but send a guy to prison for 6 months for keeping a bread and chicken. Sentencing a guy to 2 years for onion. I mean, that don't make any sense to us. Then you give the post a criminal record, right? When he going to apply for work, you have to go for police report. I hear you. Yeah, you have to go for police record. You'll get the police record, but they will state certain thing, and then that is a disqualification. That may be a disqualification. So I mean, we can do better than that. We can have community service. You can have that person, that individual, clean the same place. You from a certain area, let somebody supervise you, and you do a certain task during the course of the day for a certain period. But that can be done instead of boarding our prison officers and the prison with a whole heap of stupidness, in my opinion. But we were promised an alternative form of sentencing. I can't remember. I'll work with the document to tell you exactly the date. I think it's 2007, to be subject to correction, but 2007, a lot of magistrates came here, judges. We had a lot of workshop and decided that, okay, we can have alternative form of sentencing for first-time and young offenders, and it was agreed to. When the meeting was almost finished, I think Selman Walters subject to correction. I think Selman Walters was the minister at the time. He came and he promised that the document were there, and the Attorney General drafting something, and he was supposed to go to Parliament. And he left. Nothing. I still have the book from Dr. D, I think was his name. And we have nothing but the crime and check out the individuals. I'm going to close now. Sorry, I went on a little long tonight. Check out the individual Poya, the age group of those persons who are committing crime, those persons who the police sees guns or ammunition from. Check out the age group. So therefore, what you saying that we can capture those young minds and channel it into something better? We can do that. We used to do it before, and we can do it, but we can't do it with some political agenda. We have to do it because we are genuine and we are serious about the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and our young mind. We can channel those energies because it was not like that. It was never like that, Poya. But like I say, let me just get these email out the way first. There's 2 texts out the way, Poya. I think one of them is it's hoping that you respond. Let me see. Good night, gentlemen. Mr. Poya, I am curious. Did the Prime Minister pick up the bell or did someone hand it to him? Mr. Poya, when you speak of what is happening to Black people in St. Vincent, what is the percentage of non-Black people who make up our government compared to... Wait. What is the percentage of non-Black people who make up our government compared to non-Black people? Okay.
One, he picked up the bill, yes.
He
took up the bill. Nobody gave it to him.
Mm-hmm.
He snatched up the people's bill, which is highly disrespectful. It was not handed to him.
Mama say get this spirit, man.
And then the question about who make up parliament.
The government.
The government. I say 98% are Black.
And they're the ones suffering us?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, gentlemen. Poya, I stand with you tonight on that Baptist issue. It is also disgusting, degrading, and out shame. What took place during those gatherings? The Bible speak about humble yourselves and you will be exalted. The video I am seeing are so disgusting. I refuse to look at them in full. Why the politics? Can't he do something for once for the suffering people of this country from his heart? If he still have one, instead of hanging politics into it, Vincent, please, I ask each of you to wake up and stand up for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This foolishness have to come to an end.
Well, you see, Father Abraham, until, as Marcus Garvey say, a people who does not know their history is like a tree without root and a ship without rudder, just being drifted about on the balmy ocean. And that is what's happening to our people in this country.
Well, I had one more thing I had to play with. So, I had this other thing. So, just bear with me. I had to play this for you. I had to play this for you here because when I heard this too, I tried to figure out the relevance of it, so you will help me.
As my parliamentary and cabinet colleague Curtis King said, the day will come when this park will have to be renamed. The day will come when every village named after an oppressive slave owner will have to be renamed. The day will come when we'll have to remove ourselves from the monarchy. The day will come when we'll have to go back and say to our people, the Privy Council as our final appellate court is something we have to move from.
Wait.
We have to now loosen the shackles, both in our minds, spiritually here on this day, in our hearts, and as a people. We have to work together to build St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And an important role that all of us have to play here starts with healing, reconciliation, and ushering in a period, a wave of love like we've never seen before. A wave of kindness and appreciation and humility, being our brother's keeper.
Yes, well,
What politics have to do with this thing? That speech that he just made for Parliament is not for the people in celebration. I will tell you, downright dumb, backward. Eh? How long people been calling for community area to be named after persons and all sorts of things? And you say, well, the day will come and the day will come. Not under the watch of them, because unless it came there with, it is no way.
yes, so the lines are now open. 4565967 is the local number. The WhatsApp is 4983802 and the Magic Jack 718-734-5615. Boy, I think we have our first one. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good night. Okay, yeah, so I listen to that and I say, what is the relevance of Privy Council? I don't see the relevance of the Privy Council, the people they're meeting. I don't see the relevance of renaming the park in the people they're meeting and villages. I don't see the relevance of that. At the same time, you have to give him credit. That's the only thing he could speak about. He must he don't know nothing about God or the Bible. So the man speak what? Why you laughing? If that is the only thing he could speak, he know about, that is the only thing he speak about. So at the same time, I can't be too hard on him because maybe he nothing else. Why you laughing? Why you laughing? Listening to this recording with Carla Jim, I don't know why I laughed. Why I laughed harder watching the live stream or listening now for the second time. Yeah,
Are you asking me why I'm laughing? Look, other people telling me it's a joke.
Pleasant good night. Hello.
Yeah, good
Okay.
night,
Okay.
Father
Yes.
Abraham.
Good night. Good night.
Yeah, boy, real. This is comedy strip or comedy time. You know, I listen to you say a lot of things. And I say to myself, thank God people like you still around. This is it's mockery in every form of our democracy. Mockery. And I never thought that I would live to see the day when I was so-called bright people in this country would talk so much stupidness. The cock came up in the word the other day. What do you call it? Dotis something, I can't remember. Right? I can't believe these are the bright people that we elect to lead us and doing so much. The other day when I heard they come out with something, we call it give.
Yes.
And they say Camilo Gonzalez is the brainchild. I say, what? Brainchild of what? A whole set of nonsense. I don't even know how to put it in context. As though, well, you see, the intention of the ULP is to see how they could change every Vincentian mind from what it used to be and inculcate that kind of stupidity. And a lot of us, when I say a lot of us, a lot of the young, a lot of them who fall in for it, oh boy, I feel sorry for them. Really, really sorry for them. Yeah, you can say so much things. When I listen to you mention somebody back in time from Sandy Bay had such a wonderful program going on, teaching people how to sew and all of that. These are ideas. These are ideas that were circulating or present back then, but we failed to capitalize on all of that. And from the time the ULP got into power, as they love to say, right? What is it? They mash up, and they mash up your organization, so to speak.
This organization, he was there before me.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you call Curtis name, and he holds the important post Minister of Education, but not all of it anyhow. All of them had to bow down and worship and listen what the Prime Minister had to say. That's what's going on, you know. All the brain, all the knowledge, all the education they have, they can't stop and ask the Prime Minister, well, why this has to be so? As though nobody vote for them, or it come as though that, I mean, if they are the representation of the people, then Lord help St. Vincent the Grenadines. We're not going anywhere fast now. We're not progressing. We're not getting better. And then to crown it all, boy, I'm sorry I couldn't be there on the spot to see some of the behavior, and they carrying on. But what I saw, I follow them on radio and so on. And when I listen to the mumble jumble, and the Prime Minister, as usual, you know, he knows what he's all about. He ain't coming to them thing on time, you know. He coming late for sure. So that when he arrives, you know, you could hear, here comes the Prime Minister and all this stupidness you hear them talking about. God, he has to create attraction. He wants to be seen. He wants to be heard. Huh? And this is how he has been able to bamboozle our people's minds and so on. Come on, Vincent, this time you all wake up in the year 2025. We wait till 2050 to come to his senses. Well, by that time, I don't expect them to be around. Although he say you want to live to 110 years. Oh, he could talk all them stupidness because, you know, that's how we got Vincentian minds. That's how we have. I can't include myself in that because I am seeing different, and my eyes are so good. I wish I had the vision I used to have like before. But yet those people who have better eyes than me are not seeing clearly, and this is just ridiculous. And the things you know, and there are certain people who I think, in my opinion, we need to highlight more, you know, recognize them more, who would have done tremendous work back in time, back in those days. And now you just allow some people who just come hot and sweaty. But when I say hot and sweaty, you allow them to stick around or put up with them, tolerate them for 25 years. And you know, seeing the light of day. This election, I don't think this will be, I don't want to listen to my life, but I think this will be my last election in general elections in St. Vincent the Grenadines. And it saddens me. It really saddens me. I may not die a happy man to know that our country is still in such a state of disregard, helplessness, and all what is going on. You talk about best village and all of that. That used to be such a wonderful thing. But I think that started, they had come back with that a couple of years ago. But like,
they asked person to do it, I think it last year before, but I don't think anything happened.
No, what a wonderful, you know, and it used to really give the country a facelift because people felt genuine about that. You know, people felt genuine, you know. But anytime, this government, and you're talking about how people, you know, wait, I bring up something with volunteerism.
Yes.
That's a new thing they're talking about now too.
Paid volunteerism, yes.
They forget Papalatum. Papalatum, yes, he didn't have the scholarship as they like to talk about, but he was a man. He was able, with his limited education, if you want to put it that way, but with his own education, he was able to organize self-help at one time in this country. People don't remember them things. he wasn't the brightest politician around in those days, but he was able to get things done and to ensure that he won. He used to always, he was declared the king of the valley or whatever, and so on. But from our current crop, I don't know. What could we praise them for? What have they, what positive changes have they really brought? Look at the state of the country. Huh? I want to know how the covered leader or the prime minister I want to know how he feels about the crime in the country. He come out with the impression that he's going to make things better. Huh? When he can't go with it, he start talking all kind of nonsense. Parents have to take care of the children. And blah. He didn't know that? I guess if his parents didn't look after him, he wouldn't be around to say all what he's saying. Huh? But then he catch himself, and the next thing when he started to see all the killing going on is because of high maintenance woman. That boy, I don't know. I really don't know. And we still tell anyhow. I hope to see with Almighty God. I hope to see with Almighty God a change this time around. Because if we can't see a change, or those of us who know what's going on and see if we can't get a change this time, it means St. Vincent ain't going nowhere. And after 25 years of one medicine we using, and it can't get us better, it can't improve our health and all of that. Well, I don't know what else to look forward to. Anyhow, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Said a lot.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Yes, keeping it real right here, nice with the Father Abraham. In my days growing up under the Cato and the Mitchell government, we used to have people who will get up every morning and rake the leaves and other things off of the beaches. True. I work in the public work office. I work in the public work office when I finish my GCE exams. And people will come to our office and ask for materials to do small projects, and their homes are in the area. We not just give the material, we will have our trucks deliver the material depending on the size of the project. We may ask someone from the office to take a look. That was great government. Yes, like I said, that is, I don't know about that ministry, but I could talk about community development, and used to be doing that, and they were delivering it for you also. And I know they used to send out the field officers also.
To do assessment.
To do assessment. And I think, I can't remember what year it was, but what we did afterwards, we did a community mapping. Okay, let me take this call. President, good night.
Good night, Father.
Good night.
Good night to the
I'm not hearing you clearly.
I say I listen to this program every Friday.
Okay, thanks.
I never call because I don't want to call. But tonight I have to call.
Okay.
When you spoke about some of those organizations before, I am one of the guys who benefit from organization called Project Promotion.
Yeah, okay, yes.
They was around. They said they wanted to get young to the street. I went into the organization. I become a trade man.
Okay.
But some of the guys don't.
Okay.
And there was another organization that was to help farmers. Cardi.
Yeah, Cardi, yes.
Oh my God. They used to live I'm from country, North Windward.
Okay.
And we used to go to Shakti Lay. Lay you with those who to attend farmers meetings.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're talking about now. Because the organization was the first one I speak about that Project Promotion.
Yes.
We used to have a band out here.
Okay.
It's an overland, a steel band. But now since politics coming, that gone, and it used to be more skill training.
Yeah, correct.
more bamboo basket, more handicraft.
Correct.
Chief part of the people go do handicraft. But nothing doing now because of politics. Look at the guy who working at Orange Hill doing all those lovely bamboo. It's from that organization, Project Promotion.
Okay.
So what they say now, I don't know. I don't want to get hyped up because sometimes the police.
Yeah, correct. I understand.
So you guys doing a wonderful job because of you, Father Abraham. I love a lot from the Constitution, and that because I used to be a real funny man.
Okay.
But when I listen to you, I get to learn about the Constitution. I read the Constitution myself. So that helps a lot. So I want to say to you, thank you very much for that eye-opener. And you're doing a wonderful job. Continue to do the good job.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful
you
night.
too. For the deputy chief, the deputy chief now he was our representative, the NYC or the committee. But because yes, Colville King, because what happened there too, and I indicate that under the NDP, and it continued to an extent under the ULP, but under the NDP, they had NYC on almost every board in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Pleasant good evening.
Good afternoon,
Good. How are you doing?
Nice, great.
I passed out to look for you. They say it wasn't home.
What? When me
Go ahead. I missed it. I wrote the number and I forget why he put it down. So that is why I put it. Yeah.
I was home.
No, they say it wasn't home, and after the next day I saw you walking the street.
Abraham.
No, go ahead with your point. We're gonna deal with it after.
Abraham.
Yeah, go ahead. I know you're the Baptist. Go ahead with your point.
Listen to me.
Yes, give me your number again.
My number is on the phone.
No, I don't look on the phone.
Board.
Okay.
On the board. Look on the board.
Okay, go ahead. I'll find it. Yes.
You owe me apology. Now you say you come, then tell you here, then tell you me not there.
Nah, you wasn't there the next day I saw you walking the road too.
What me?
Yes.
When me does do, then does teeth me breath through.
Okay.
So me does put the galvanized behind the door.
Okay.
For thinking me not there.
Okay. Oh, they check me.
I said somebody saying not there.
Okay.
When me rush out, if he come move.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So
next time I go call you, yes.
Call me.
Yes.
And thing.
Okay.
Now let me tell you something.
Yes.
We don't want to talk now. But me inside a bile. Okay? Me inside a bile.
Get the water.
When people talking foolishness and stupidness.
Okay.
He have a thought no Baptist man. One day they tell him me my full of bad word. And my brother, I lay down the foundation. Pa them going go get praise. Pa me lay down, then I got on there.
Okay.
But the Holy Spirit direct them for God. And I thought no Baptist man. The bell ring, but now body I hear the bell.
Okay.
I take up the bell and ring it. He come to me, brother. You could sing, you could clap, but you're unworthy to touch the bell.
Okay.
What happened when they gone? The one they be holy?
He wanted to touch it.
Yeah. You know why speaking?
Yes.
Right. He do me a wickedness just because he know me heart soft. And a good brother into me. Me not talk because me could talk. Me love to offer. And my brother, I give him a $50. I say, take 20 and bring back 30 for me. Me did a wait, not time the marketing board not been mashed up yet.
Mm-hmm.
Me did a wait, a lucky thing, me a man, and grateful to Admiral. Me go down. When me meet him in next, oh, me think yourself who take it. Me think yourself who take it. Right? And so on. Some way, I read the Bible, but now I read the right part of the Bible. They better be careful, you know. When me give you a joke, me went to school, but me take myself make a coon. When my mother send me to school, me go in a banana field. At the 12 o'clock, me reach home. My grandmother say, you say you go to school, say your ABC. A, B, C, D, F, G, A, K, J, K, M, 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 M. That all me know.
Okay.
One day, end up, a man who been a bill, who be expect a man like me who not go to school, could have be a foreman over work as them. Me not know me head from me tail, but through me work good. The guy who been our Kerani work from Lad Village named Mr. Edward, God bless his soul, me not know if he dead. He leave me for Kerani work. Right? When me Kerani work, them I say, Oliver, you pushy work. Me say, boy, work not dead. We are deadly work. You want somebody kill you. Me call the boss, man, and me tell him, he tell me leave everything to him. When he come now, me start to cry. You know why me cry?
No.
When me see he lick up, pick me them a run up and down. And I pray, reach a while me could a day I pray too. If they are living with you, me say, me should have be like them. Why not be like them? Me say, maybe no who make school, me kill them. He said, they should kill you after you have built school. Anyhow, me not take up the program. Pass by me car.
Yeah.
And you go give you a surprise.
Okay, cool. They make school.
Yeah.
All right, have a good day. Yes, you keeping it real right here on nice way, the fire. Yeah, so I was a bit disturbed when I listen to these things. You understand? Because the organization were vibrant, they were wrong, they were doing a lot of work. They contributed to the development of a lot of communities.
But like these people not there.
Yeah, a lot of communities.
If they go, as you mentioned, in the archives and read, they would see
exactly.
the records are there.
And they have a historian there with them too. He could inform them. My Curtis, a historian with them also.
It's a fool.
Yeah, he have the historian, so he will inform them. He had one name. You have that guy also too. What is his name? Steven Frederick. So they were there and they were part of it. And yes, I have a lot of work was done. And here happened. I know, I can't remember. It's a program coming out of Marion House now, though, because they have it in Kingston and also in Georgetown. And they teach people electrical work, they teaching plumbing, they teaching bartending and all those sort of things. Maybe we could give them the money and let it expand their services, I think is carry on. It's done under the Catholic Church, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and they do a lot of work, and Pat Fraser and what his name?
Genial even.
And with the Genius Town, are you talking about country or James Brown?
Yeah.
I know they do a lot of work in terms of that area also. Pleasant good night.
Good night.
Good night.
You know, I don't know if you've discussed the spiritual Baptist.
You go discuss what you want, man. I don't limit anybody. Go ahead.
Yeah, because
You're a spiritual Baptist too?
Eh?
You're a spiritual Baptist?
No,
okay.
People, but
Okay.
But I'm wondering, I'm trying to find out the weight of the spiritual Baptist Day, you know? If it's really very significant. You know, because I think it was Senior Joshua who who fought for
Correct.
the labor, what to say, the freeing up of the rights of the spiritual Baptists to worship in the villages.
You're correct.
Because I remember in the 40s, the spiritual Baptists, their meeting houses were in the mountains. You understand? They couldn't meet in the villages. And so, but strange enough, they were able to go there fairly comfortably because the authorities in those days used to maintain the roads to the farms. You see? So they were able to go on good roads. But today, a lot of the people who were farm workers and so on were in the Baptist religion. And they can't get to the lands now. Huh? So, but I'm not hearing any this talk in this period about the contribution of Mr. Joshua.
Yes.
To the you know.
Yes.
And you know what worries me? It is all right to say have a holiday, but look at what has happened to May Day.
Yes.
You understand? We say we used to celebrate the 1st of May, the first Monday in May. But then we say no, it's the proper thing to do to celebrate on the 1st of May. What are we doing now? When last we celebrated May Day? Labor Day. Huh?
I remember the first and the last one was 2000, proper one was 2002.
Well, look at that. So I am worried that the same thing will happen to the Baptist holiday, you know? The National Baptist Day. On top of that, I think the 17th of September was declared.
You're breaking up and I hear you clear again.
Right?
Okay, go ahead.
Let me change the position.
Yes.
Yes, I think the 17th of September, I think, was declared International Democracy Day.
Okay.
But for 2 years, we have had nothing here. Although we have
what did they say?
International.
Well, it's not local democracy, it's international.
Yes, that's what you mean. But we have declared ourselves to be a democracy, founded on the belief in the supremacy of God and the freedom. So I had really expected that to hear some, you know, something by the unions and the parties, etc. To those last 2 years, and we heard nothing. So I am saying the same thing might happen to this big day, you see. So whether or not it is worth the energy that we have expended on it, so time will tell. So yeah, the point I really want to the roads to the farms,
yes,
where the majority of the people were able to secure in food production are not fixed now after 20-something years, when that was a big promise by this administration. And so we must find out if they're going to fix it before election and so on, so that we know what to do.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right, you too. Yes, for it, I know when I listened to I read the script from the celebration of the memorial of Joshua sometime this year and his contribution to the spiritual Baptist movement. And you're correct. And I think it when Pierre Campbell also joined the spiritual Baptist movement. I think he used to march from Peacemore to Victoria Park with the celebration. I think it's on the same day, the 21st.
Yeah.
And he used to have that celebration. And my only problem with it, I think, the misty sweetness. Because I remember you used to go around because it was real sweet. And then I think to some extent, after a lot of people joined, they tried to put it in a straitjacket. Pleasant good night.
Sorry for call back.
No, you go ahead.
Mr. Abraham.
Yes, boss.
Me talk stupidness.
Right. No, don't start anybody, man. You say what you had to say.
Okay, what happened? Some people that listen to radio and mislead. Talk what they want to hear.
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I call back to tell them the man who them a call foolish.
Mm-hmm.
I know where to flip on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Call back 40. I forgot to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Caesar is agriculture minister of agriculture.
Yes.
And I know all the man, the fruit tree in the world. I make him know.
Mm-hmm.
You know the half waiting. They say, boy, you mash up him, man.
Mm-hmm.
You mash up him, man, bad. They say, leave me and Caesar. I'm his friend.
And I plan to disown him, and you taking him, okay?
Hail St. Vincent bids you welcome, the headline of the Vincentian newspaper on Saturday, 12th February 1966. History was in the making as Her Most Excellent Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Southern Ireland, and of her other realms and territories Queen and the head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith, sovereign of the British Orders of Knighthood, was visiting St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On leaving the jetty, the Queen was greeted by a 21-gun salute, and the Duke joined her in a procession which included the Administrator, the Chief of Police, and Inspector Falconer, Chief Superintendent A.E. Perkins, and members of the Queen's household.
President, good evening.
Good evening, Abraham.
Hi,
And
good
good
day.
evening, Foyer.
Good day.
Abraham,
Yes.
something that the gentleman said just now.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying the same thing. I wonder how long this Baptist day will last. Because we all know once God starts something, it always ending up on the wrong side. I am a spiritual Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I was baptized in Trinidad.
Okay.
And I was baptized in 1985. It's 40 years now since I am a spiritual Baptist.
Okay.
But it appears to me that this name spiritual Baptist, it's really, some of these people, the majority of them is not spiritual Baptist. You only carry the name spiritual Baptist because they want to carry the name. Because no how you can tell me they could allow Ralph Gonsalves to come in the function, pick up the bell and ring it. No way that should happen. No way that should have happened. The next thing, I can't understand Gonsalves gone playing drums. And you could see Gonsalves was mocking the people, mocking them. No wonder why he used those bad remarks about they eat in the night and the belly full and the wrongs ride them and they get up and talk vision. Because if they had vision, they would have seen this man before. And they should not, to be honest, not because he is the prime minister, they shouldn't allow him to be there, especially on the pulpit there with him.
Amen.
If there's anything, he should have been in the stand.
Correct.
I can understand because let me tell you something, if it was in Trinidad, that wouldn't happen. I know I'm telling you. Because the Baptists and them have a song, but I hardly hear it. Well, to be honest, I don't hear it sing it again. A song goes like, I think it goes like this. I will try to remember the song now, but there's a song that when you're not clean and you hear they raise a song, you have to walk out from the prayers. You have to walk out. Because I saw that happen already. I saw it. And I can't understand why they allow Gonsalves to take over. To me, Gonsalves take over the Baptist thing. And the thing what they had here, to me, it wasn't giving God thanks and praise. It's like was a puppy show thing they have there. I wasn't in Park, but I was watching it on I think it's one of these news people. I was watching it on. And I to be honest, it hurt my heart because I know the training I get with Baptist, spiritual Baptist, that Gonsalves shouldn't be there at all.
He shouldn't be up there. He shouldn't be up there. And Carlos James and all them gone up talking politics. Huh? And none of these people come out and rebuke none of them. To be honest, it really hurt my heart because I know when you go to serve God, you go to serve God in spirit and in truth. So I don't know what these Baptists, these spiritual Baptists, well, these so-called spiritual Baptists here. To be honest, I can remember, Abraham, I don't know if you have that tape, but I can remember that before Pierre passed away, I think it was a couple of weeks before he passed away, I heard him said one night on the program. He said, it's a long time I don't have a dream. I think what he called, he talked the dream that he had.
Yeah, I remember that.
Huh?
I remember that.
Right. And I said myself, how come panel, because I think they say he was, what did he used to carry, boy? But he used to carry a name in the Baptist. And I tell myself, I say, how come panel had to be spiritually dead? Because you're supposed to be seeing things. You have to be dreaming. You're supposed to be seeing things once you're spiritual. That once I've known these people not spiritual, the way he could go there and pamper set himself. To be honest, I don't even know how to explain this thing, but God knows. The only thing I really sorry for, because you see, when these kind of when leaders do these kind of things, that something just happen to the people at the country, and I even prayed to God. I prayed to God that God wrath ain't fall on St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to be honest, because I know what God said. They wasn't in God's pleasing. It more or less like Ahab. Ahab had some prophets, right?
Yeah, man.
And right, it seems to me all of them, or most of them there, was Ahab prophets. Because to me, they go to show up gun serve. That is how I see it. That is how I see it. They go to show up gun serve. And I think this thing, it won't last for long, because I believe once you see gun serve, put your hand in something, that is it. Gun serve is a blight. Once you put your hand in it, it's a blight. And I don't think that the Baptist thing will continue. I think the best thing was for them to do for that day is every church have a gathering of the members and give God thanks and praise, not to go in Victoria Park to show up guns.
All right. Thank you. A pleasure. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. How you doing?
And everybody.
Good night. Good night.
This is a good friend of the NDP speaking here, right? Number one, I didn't go to that marching and the Baptist thing where they had there. I didn't go. My spirit tell me do not go in that, right?
Okay.
And I stay home and I listen and I watch the Honorable Ralph Egan Saab disrespect the whole of the entire congregation there, because when you in that faith and the spirit, as we will say, catch you doesn't be laughing. The man beaten from he laughing. He dancing with somebody, he laughing. It was a mock or something. This man just got it to show off himself and to prove to Vincentian that it's I who caused the celebration for the Baptist. This is where you go find out. In any time you see guns having this thing here, he laughing. Why you laughing? Something was going on serious. The word of God preaching and you laughing. You're beating drum, you're laughing, you're dancing, you're laughing, saying to Rusty Keith and them. We're ready to guns up. I ain't going to, because I don't want nothing fly off and come on me. I ain't believing bad, but that about. I don't want when the election come, I make mistake and vote for ULP. I can't.
All right. Okay. Yes. Boy, the thing is let me, like I indicated before, whether or not it's at the Victoria Park, it has signed their playing field. Once is the church and they have the altar, that is a sacred place.
Yeah.
Ought to be a secret place, and persons, they're up there dedicated for certain individuals. And I tell you this, I don't know if one of my friend who always, yes, I think in 94, I was at a service in Georgetown. And I don't know if Reverend Ron Bailey could remember. And I think it's Kenroy Kofiak. Yeah, he was the pastor of the New Testament Church then. And two politicians, we were having I can't remember what service we was having, and two politicians, they asked to come and sit on the altar, and I walk out the church and told them they have no calling up there. And I went before the board, and the board told me what I did was disrespectful, but I will do it again because I don't think politicians should be on the altar. I have problem with both parties. I don't see if the day was declared for the spiritual Baptist. I don't think because the day was declared by the state that any politician have any calling in there. You see, I could understand. I know Bruce is a spiritual Baptist all the days of his life. So I understand Bruce is a member of the church and I don't have no problem. But politicians, and if you go there as a spiritual Baptist, you shouldn't be going. You shouldn't be there as making political speeches that the people live there. You're there if you want to go and join them as part of the worship, then that is okay. If you want to go and celebrate with them, that is okay. But I don't think no microphone should be handed to any politician, anyone. Whether on the ULP side or on the NDP side, no microphone should be handed to any of them. Pleasant good night.
Yes, good night,
Good
gentlemen.
night. Good night. Good night.
Good night. This is a very good program, Father Abraham.
Yeah, okay.
I was listening and wasn't going to call. After listening to some of the callers, I had to really call in because my mother, as Mr. Poy said, my mother, my grandmother, all my aunts. I think only my uncles who was a spiritual Baptist.
Okay.
And I'm speaking on behalf of them because I know if my grandmother was alive today and she were able to speak, she would have been one of the people that's speaking out about what took place there in the park. I grew up with my grandmother, and you couldn't touch a bell.
No.
You couldn't touch a bell to say you're going to ring it, whether you was a child or a grown man or not. And my grandmother would tell us about Mother Hanaway, Mr. Butcher. I think he was a Pointer Butcher.
Yeah.
And all those true spiritual Baptist people, and none of them would have stood for this today. What I saw, there was a election poppy show that they performed because of greed, and I honestly going to say that some of the people who are in these Baptist church, they're greedy. And they probably is doing this to appease to the prime minister so they could go in and beg or get something that they're trying to, whatever they're trying to get. I just think we as Vincentians need to stand up really more and speak out about these things because it's shameful. It's really, really shameful when you looked at it around the world. And you see what is taking place. He's on the stage bouncing like a balloon. Here you are, the true spiritual people, Baptist people, didn't even get a chance to get on stage and say something, and you have this man parading the stage. Father Abraham, it hurts me honestly when I saw it because I know if my grandmother was alive, she would have been one that'd be speaking out about these ills. So I honestly, I really hope that the true Baptist people will speak out and if it's call it what it is. If they think it's okay, that's fine. But there's someone from the Baptist churches need to speak out and call it what it is. If they think it's okay, that's okay, up to them. But I think it's not okay in my book.
Okay. Yeah, you too. All right. The thing is that, boy, I didn't sit at the stage. I sit at the people on altar. And no politician, like I indicated before, had no calling on the people at altar. If you want to go and celebrate with them, you go and you find yourself in the audience and you celebrate with them if you so choose to. You have no calling on the people them altar. And when the church having something, it's no longer a stage, it's an altar. And then that altar is supposed to be sanctified. And therefore you're not supposed to be on the people them altar prayer. It's not a stage, the people them altar, you had no calling the people, no politician had no calling. Like I told you that what happened to me in 94. Pleasant. Good night.
Good night to
Good night.
everyone.
Good night.
It is a long time I call it.
Yeah.
I just be free.
Mm-hmm.
But as you all speak about that area with the spiritual part,
Mm-hmm.
it brings me back to a scripture.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognize that people these days don't reverence the altar and the pulpit no more.
Mm-hmm.
They have no reverence.
Mm-hmm.
Because prior and Brother Hamia,
Mm-hmm.
in our times, when even the Pentecost or any other denomination,
Mm-hmm.
when you live in right faithful in
Exactly.
even the Christian them who may sin the night,
Mm-hmm.
stopping outside and pray for going
Correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember those mothers long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name. I'm not a Baptist, but I carry my grandparents, them Tony from Barry Hill, all of them. Sorry, I know part of their religion because it was deep in it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But at the same time, you couldn't even touch a candle.
Correct.
You couldn't even touch the band. Even in the head tie, you can't even touch the head. Because of the belief, the doctrine. And I recognize that these days, the set of spiritual Baptists is not really serious like before, are grounded, some of them, and the fear of God is no more among the people. Because when you're ready, while I was talking, the scripture come back to me.
Mm-hmm.
When Uzziah died, why he died? Because most preachers preach and say Uzziah died, and then Isaiah saw the glory. But the reason for Uzziah died, I think it's in Chronicles. I can't remember which chapter right now. When he died, why? It's because he was a king. The Bible said that. He was a God-fearing man, and he was really carrying out the right standard and really care for people. And he was a great man in the city around that time because of what he was doing and so on. But the reason why, what happened, he went in the temple and he took up the incense to go on. And the process that he was a God-fearing king.
But
And he was
that was
standard.
that was for the priests, the Levites.
Right. And he went and took up he gets so great, and what happened? Pride. Pride came up in him. And he went and he took up the thing to burn the incense. One of the king came out and said, No. That is not your place. That is not for you to do. And he persistent.
Isaiah 6.
Right, Isaiah 6, but in Chronicles, there's a story where about him. You only getting that he died in Isaiah 6.
Correct.
And in the process of that, he said want to be pompous. That the other priests then came out and said, No, it is us supposed to be doing that.
Correct.
And he stretched out his hand, showing them where I can do whatever I want. Like what happened there Wednesday. Okay? And he took, when you're going to do it, what happened? His whole body came leopard. When he stretched out his hand, leprosy strike his body. And after what happened, God put a mark in his head, in his forehead, right? Correct me. And he drove out from the place and went and isolate himself until the day of his death. And when you were talking there quickly, I remember that that we have to be careful now. Because we always use a word and say, so was the days of Anna and Sophia. So it shall be one of these days. But I can say, so are the days of King Uzziah. We better careful. Because one of these days, when we try to take up what it belongs to us and use it for fame and gain, we are treading on dangerous ground. And brother Abraham, don't think God is looking down now. There's a saying, a man can do as much as they like, but not as long as much as they want, but not as long as they like. And I believe it's time for us to get back to the place and bring back the reverence and the fear of God in every domination. That if you don't clean, if you ain't living right, if you're not walking with God, you're supposed to be able to tap the pulpit, now the altar,
Correct.
to take up a mic.
You remember the story too with the guy when the altar was the Ark of the Covenant were falling and they tried to stop it? What happened?
Touch the hand.
Okay.
And touch it and stuck in there.
Correct.
So, and one of them hand will get what? Full of
leprosy.
Leprosy. And God, and the man of God have to turn back and pray and healing. We better careful. You see, I understand scripture and say, who going to get baptized and who going to mourn and who going this? You think this is a puppy show? Stop use politics. Stop use the things of God and to make politics. Because God is looking down. Whatsoever man sow, you're going to reap. And God is not mocked. Whatever man sow, you're going to reap.
Correct.
Be careful. And one of these days, when you're going to take up the bell, be careful. You might take up the wrong bell. God bless you.
All right. Yeah. The thing is that those are saturated place, and therefore, and what the lady said is correct. In the early days, they have some spiritual mothers, not only in the Baptist church, but in also the Pentecostal church, you have some spiritual mothers. And if you commit any sin the night before, you're afraid to go in, and you're afraid to take communion, you're afraid like hell, because those spiritual mothers will point you out. I remember one time my mother told me that the individual was going into a church and the lady said, no, make your path right with God first. Don't come in, this is holy place. You understand? Those ladies used to have a sight and they used to see those things and point them out. But boy, we lost our way in every way. But the thing is, it is that the other issue is that like I said, no politician shouldn't be there. If the people on them holiday, the state give them the holiday, and therefore let they celebrate how they see best in terms of their celebration. And if you want to go and be a part of the audience, then yeah, you could go and be a part of the audience, but they had no call in there. I know I was chastised for that like 31 years ago. And I ain't concerned, I was chastised for that 31 years ago. And I was taken before the whole board of Youth for Christ because I took a stand. And if it happened, I'll do the same thing again because you have to be serious. I mean, somebody sent a text to me and said, if Bishop Free was alive, that couldn't happen. And you couldn't go touch Bishop Free. Bell. Yeah, they say if Bishop Free was alive.
Check the bell and bust your head.
They say Bishop Free was alive, you couldn't do that. But the thing is that we allow certain things happen and people just take everything for granted and they have no seriousness about the faith.
How people could fear.
Yes.
Yeah, people could fear this whole thing. If we are doing something for the people, do it genuinely. Do it without any reward that you think are glory. Because then the glory is supposed to be of God, not of man.
But it seems like it's happening all because if you look at the National Heroes Day, where NYC and some other organization, but NYC were in the forefront fighting for National Heroes Day for years. And you see how they turn it politics. Yeah. Because it's not anything about
political fanfare.
Yeah, it's so you have that. You have Labor Day, and somebody spoke up. We decided to put it back to May 1st. I think about 1 or 2 successful Labor they rally after that and nothing happened.
No, because they destroyed the National Labour Congress.
Yeah, nothing. The Labour Congress destroyed themselves. So nothing happened.
And you have persons getting paid for
no, but
organized thing
like,
and nothing.
but
I want to know.
Mm-hmm. You have to
Because
blame the
I'm saying that
members. You have to blame the members.
if at the end of the day, because taxpayers' money that is paying you, right? And the government change. If they want to do a forensic audit and make people have to pay back those money that they get falsely.
I like what happened in Trinidad now.
Yeah.
I look at the Prime Minister and she exposing all the worthlessness that the PNM were doing. And it's real corruption. Real corruption. And then the UE down there was basically abandoned for the 10 years and basically it can't function. And you look at some of the things and some of the ministers and the side deal that they were getting. I mean, and I like how she exposing them. I like how she exposing them because that you can't be representing the state using taxpayers' money and benefiting from it personally and enriching yourself from taxpayers. I mean, how that can be fair? And then when the same taxpayers go to the department that you set up to help them, you have to show your color. I mean, that can't be right, boy. That can't be right. Cannot be right. But let us hope one of these days that thing changes. But like I said, the voters, you just monitor what is happening in your constituency. I was told something today, I haven't verified it as yet, but just focus on what is happening in your constituency. I still have interest in the Southern Grenadines, and I need a closure on the particular issue of the Southern Grenadines, and we can get the supervisor of election interpreting the law, well, giving us statement without pointing us to the particular section in the law to say exactly what inform her position on the issue. So I have
on what legal counseling she get to come to that such a decision.
Well,
yeah.
The thing is that if you are supervisor of election, the law I believe is simple and you, but if you then the chief legal advisor, it ought to be the Attorney General, and but I have problem with that. I also think that the supervisor of election, the office of the supervisor of election, should be able to seek be able to seek her own counsel on electoral matters of electoral law and seek her own counsel. So I have problem with it where you have to go by either the minister or you have to go by somebody in government. That is not right. That is not fair. And it's time, just like how we want to, well, I never support the movement from the Privy Council and for various reasons. But if the people want to, well, the head of state is a bygone conclusion, as I indicated, because that was what the people wanted. But because we gave them a whole bread and put certain things that they don't eat in the bread, that is why it was rejected. But I think we can have it in sections, and we can get what we want and have a better society and a better St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
I do agree with you. And I hope and pray that the good Lord would guide proper leadership into that direction, because we need it much more than ever, if there was ever a time, based on what is taking place. And I'm calling out to all my African brothers and sisters. Remember African Liberation Day. Remember people like Marcus Garvey and all those Black conscious leaders, Pan-Africanism, who push for us to be, as a Black people, to know who we are, what we are, where we came from, and then we'll be able to guide our path as to where we want to go. And until we do that, Kapoor will continue to smoke our pipe.
But I love the book Winner Takes It All, and I be reading it, and the way which the governance is set up, everything basically is the executive. And somebody told me one time, if you expect to try the devil in hell and win, right? Yeah, go in hell and try the devil and expect to win. Till next week, TV, have a wonderful evening.
Keeping It Real is an interactive radio program heard only on Nice Radio. Join your host, Joel Abraham, every Friday as we discuss important issues affecting our society from 8 to 10:30 p.m. For persons living outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you can still listen to us on Nice Radio's website, www.niceradio.info, or you can email us at bdsnice@gmail.com, or simply give us a call at 784-456-5967. Remember, it's Keeping It Real, the interactive talk show program heard each and every Friday only on Nice Radio.
90.3, 96.7, 101.3 Nice Radio. Keep it locked.
Hi, hun. Can you pick up the kids today?